I grew my LinkedIn to 60,000 followers in under 2 years, which helped me make $1 million last year at 80% profit margins, all within 2.5 years of starting my business. I spent over 25 hours writing and documenting my 7-step process so you can just copy and paste my LinkedIn growth strategy, all without starting with a big LinkedIn following, spending money on ads, or worst of all, commenting for 5 hours a day in the hopes that people will see your content. And it's not just me that my strategy has worked for. I've helped dozens of my clients grow by thousands of followers on LinkedIn and make thousands of dollars in the process. Like Farouk, who went from 0 to 4,000 followers and landed 4 high-ticket clients for his LinkedIn growth agency in a few months. Or Andrew, who went from 0 to 15K a month with his ghostwriting offer. And even Magdalena, who went from 0 to 7,500 followers and landed 2 high-ticket clients for her coaching offer, all within a few months. Now she has better engagement than me. So in this free LinkedIn guide, you're gonna learn a bunch of things, but 7 main ones. So number 1, how to optimize your profile so you can build instant authority and increase conversions for followers and clients on autopilot. Number 2, how to use my 3-pillar content framework to skyrocket your engagement and separate yourself from your competitors. Number 3, how to use my ChatGPT ideation system so you never waste time wondering what to post on LinkedIn. Number 4, how to use my 3-step viral writing framework that eliminates writer's block and makes writing LinkedIn posts 10 times easier. Number 5, how to package your content so it gets maximum attention and increases your chance of going viral. Number 6, how to guarantee people see your LinkedIn posts even if you have a small following. And number 7, how to build a high value network and hack the LinkedIn algorithm, as all the gurus say, which increases your reach to relevant followers and potential clients. And as a bonus, stick around until the end and I will put everything together into a simple plan you can immediately start taking action on without question. I'll also include some really cool tools that'll make everything 10 times easier for your LinkedIn journey. Now, quick disclaimer before we start, this is not for people who do not have a skill that helps people solve problems or achieve desired outcomes. This strategy is specifically for freelancers, business owners, coaches, or anyone else with a skill that solves other people's problems. And if you do not have a skill that's useful to other people, you can just leave this video now and go to TikTok. Leave LinkedIn for the skilled people. So the first step to growing your LinkedIn following is to optimize your profile, because if your LinkedIn profile isn't organized, optimized, and easy to understand, it won't matter how many people view your profile, they're not going to convert to followers or clients. So there are 3 things someone needs to understand when viewing your LinkedIn profile. Number 1, who you are. Number 2, what you do. Number 3, the benefit of following you. If you don't answer these 3 questions within a few seconds, people will exit your profile without following you. And worst of all, never becoming a client. But if you invest the time to set up these 5 parts of your LinkedIn profile just once, you're gonna increase the number of followers you get forever. Now, going from the least important to the most important tips for optimizing your LinkedIn profile, let's go into number 1. So we want to build relatability and connect with potential followers on a deeper level. And this is something many people skip or screw up and can be the difference between building a following and building die-hard fans. What I'm referring to is the about section. The about section of your LinkedIn is the part where you share a bit about yourself, and bonus points if you can tell that I'm Canadian. And this is the perfect chance to build relatability and position yourself as an authority rather than some random stranger on social media. So for your about section, I recommend sharing a transformation story related to your career or your profession. And if you want a simple framework to follow, just use my STAR framework. So I will break down each part of the STAR framework and give you a real example of how one of my coaching clients, Nicholas, used all of this. So the S in the STAR framework stands for situation. This part gives context on a problem you faced. By starting with a problem, you hook readers in right away and you're going to build relatability with them. So for example, my client Nicholas started his about section with the following lines. My life changed the day I got the call. Until September 2022, I thought I'd made it. I got into bioengineering at one of Portugal's top universities. All the years of late nights and hard work finally paid off. But one day, the phone rang. It was our landlord. His voice was cold and final. I want you out as soon as the contract ends. Now, the T in the STAR framework stands for task. This part is where you explain the task you set out to complete to overcome your challenge. So this pushes the story forward and shows people how you started your journey to get where you are today. For example, here's how Nicholas continued his story in his about section. So with no money and new sky-high rents, I was left in a pit of anxiety. With a little savings and skyrocketing rents, my mother and I were soon going to be homeless. My grades, once a source of pride, began to plummet. Anxiety and despair took hold. I was on the verge of depression. Faced with no other choice, I took the biggest bet of my life. I was going to go all in on learning how to make money online. I didn't want the Lambo or the fancy Rolex. I just wanted to make money so me and my mother could survive. Now, the third part of the STAR framework stands for action. In this part, you want to describe the actions you took to achieve your task. You want to highlight any struggles you face. So doing this will build relatability with your audience. Back to the example with Nicholas. So with zero idea what I was doing, I decided to hire a business mentor. I had been following on social media for a little over a year. I was going to build my personal brand and learn how to get paid to write online as a ghostwriter. I knew the next few months would determine whether 1, my mother and I would have a roof over our head, or 2, my mother and I would be begging the streets just to get by. So I went 100% in. I quit college, I drained my savings, I even took out a loan so I could afford the mentorship. Starting from zero, I faced many challenges, months of no income, feeling like I didn't belong, wondering if I'd ever make it. Now, the fourth part of the STAR framework stands for result. Share the results of your actions and the transformation that occurred. So this closes the loop you created from your story at the start, and it's a great way to show your authority and build credibility. So for example, with Nicholas once again, but through many failures and lessons, I slowly got better each day. I went from 0 followers to growing by over 30 followers a day. I went from being a nobody to talking with high value entrepreneurs daily. But most importantly, I started making enough money to pay for rent and put food on our table. Now, your about section is great for building authority and deeper connections with potential followers, but what about turning people into clients and customers? Well, just like putting a good billboard in front of a busy highway, this next tip will get more eyeballs on your offer on LinkedIn. So what I'm referring to is the LinkedIn's featured section. In your featured section, you can pin a LinkedIn post, a newsletter, an article, and documents. But what I recommend above all of these is to link directly to a lead magnet or directly to your offer. And this can be a link to your website, your newsletter, or anything else designed to convert people into clients and customers. Now, most people screw the featured section up because they just add a link and think that's enough to get attention on their offer or lead magnet. But this is about as enticing as putting whipped cream on dog shit. So you need to add some pizzazz and make your featured section attention grabbing. So you can do this by doing 2 things. Number 1 is add a thumbnail. So your thumbnail picture should be so simple that a potato could understand what you're offering and benefit. So don't overcomplicate it. For example, my LinkedIn featured section's thumbnail is a picture of text. This text has 3 parts. It calls out who I'm targeting, creators, coaches, and business owners. It calls out a desirable outcome of my target audience, so attract quality followers and clients. And then I use a call to action. So click here to get my free social media course. This way, anyone who fits my criteria and is interested in the outcome are much more likely to click the link because it's tailored to them. That way I'm filtering the people I want to attract and filtering out the people I don't want to attract. The second part to making your featured section more attention grabbing is to make your title clear. So the title is the text that appears on the right side of the image. So keep it simple and state what you're offering. In my case, my title says, get my free personal branding course. You'll also have the option to add a description to your featured section, but I recommend leaving it blank. When you write a description, it'll add another step before taking people to your offer or your link. And if you leave the description blank, it'll only take 1 click. So it's a small detail, but reducing the friction can increase conversions. Now, moving on to the third part of optimizing your LinkedIn profile. This is one of the most viewed parts of your LinkedIn LinkedIn profile and can be a great way to instantly set good impressions with people viewing your profile. I'm talking about your LinkedIn banner. And this is the wide picture that shows up at the very top of your profile, so it gets a lot of attention. So your LinkedIn banner is a great way to show people what value you provide and make them aware of what actions you want them to take. So I recommend having 3 things in your LinkedIn banner. So number 1, your value proposition, 2, social proof, 3, a call to action. For example, I show my value proposition, improve your writing and build your personal brand. I share social proof, being featured on Forbes and other notable platforms. And I have a call to action. In the top left of the corner, I tell people to get my free course in the featured section. And this is optional, but I also call out my target audience in my banner. So creators, coaches, and business owners. So to create your banner, you can use a software like Canva or Figma. They got a ton of templates. They're great, easy to use. And paste, there's a fly. I'm gonna get that motherfucker. Leave that in. But the easiest route is to find a designer on Fiverr.com and pay someone to make it for you. Now, the 4th part of optimizing your LinkedIn profile is to create a bio, aka your headline. So there are 4 questions your bio should answer. Number 1, what do you do? Number 2, who do you help? Number 3, why should I care? Number 4, why should I trust you? For example, my LinkedIn bio currently says, I help business owners attract high ticket clients with their personal brand. Multi 7 figures in results for 150 plus clients. Get my free personal branding course. So right away, you know, 1, what I do, I monetize personal brands. 2, who I help business owners. 3, the benefit, get more high paying clients. And 4, why I'm credible, multi 7 figures in results for 150 plus clients. So when a stranger visits my profile, they have a well-rounded idea of who I am and why they should follow me. Now, the 5th and arguably the most important part of optimizing your LinkedIn profile is your beautiful face. I'm referring to your LinkedIn profile picture. Your profile picture is literally the face of your brand. It's one of the first things people see when you leave a comment or you make a post. And if your profile picture looks low quality or unprofessional, they're unlikely to click on your profile. So to optimize your LinkedIn profile picture, there are 3 tips I recommend following. Number 1, high quality picture. So using low quality pictures will signal that you are not serious about social media and people will associate that with your content. Also, most people on LinkedIn have crappy photos, so it's an easy way to stand out from everybody. So make sure to use a quality phone camera or a DSLR camera to take your picture. And more importantly, use good lighting. It will make a huge difference in how the quality of your photos turn out. So you can use Google or YouTube on how to set up lighting. Do that later. Tip number 2 is positioning. So since profile pictures appear small on the LinkedIn timeline, anything other than a picture of your face won't be that visible. So make sure to avoid full body pictures and have your face make up most of your profile picture. A good rule of thumb is to not have your profile picture show anything below the chest. Tip number 3 is the background. So if you have a lot going on in the background of your photo, it's going to make it hard to see you. You're not going to stand out. So I recommend having a solid or blurry background so your face stands out. And bonus points if you have a colored background that makes you pop more, you're going to get more attention. And then examples of great LinkedIn profile pictures include my client Mike, my client Nick, and my client Farouk. And if you don't have access to a high quality camera, you can use an AI software called instaheadshots.com to turn your selfies into professional looking business headshots. So we've covered how to optimize your LinkedIn profile. Now it's time to move on to the fun part, content creation. So I'm going to show you the exact system to follow so you're never wondering what to post. So in this phase, I'm going to cover number 1, what types of posts to create to make people know, like, and trust you, and ultimately buy from you. Number 2, my plug and play ChatGPT system for generating endless content ideas. And number 3, the simple framework I use to structure posts. And real quick, if you're liking this video so far, can you take 69 milliseconds to leave a like on this video? It's free and it really helps me grow my YouTube channel and create more videos like this one. All right, so whether you're trying to get your first 10,000 or get your next 100,000 followers on LinkedIn, you don't want to just build a following. You want to build a following of people that know, like, and trust you. Because when people know, like, and trust you, they're invested in you as a person, which leads to much higher engagement, more clients, and more sales. Now, the way we get people to know, like, and trust us is by using my GAP framework. This framework focuses on creating 3 types of content. So the G in the GAP framework stands for growth content. This is the content that gets people to know about you. So if you're trying to grow on LinkedIn, especially at the start, this content can be a game changer, just like that light that went out. Growth content consists of topics that are top of mind for people. So things like trends, current events, well-known people, and companies. So since these topics are top of mind, people are much more likely to consume your content because they have a higher interest in it. Also, social media algorithms promote this content more. So for example, one of my clients, Farouk, made one piece of growth content and went from a couple hundred followers to over 1,300 followers, gaining a total of 900 followers in under 24 hours. So to do this, he made a breakdown of how to write hooks and grow on LinkedIn, but not in any ordinary way. He made a post breaking down how one of the biggest and most popular LinkedIn accounts, Lara Costa, writes her hooks. So he used a well-known name on the platform to capture attention and delivered actionable insights to convert that attention into followers. But you can also create growth content about current events and trends. For example, if my LinkedIn account is centered around the topic of marketing, when it's closer to Christmas and I wanted to take advantage of current events near Christmas time, I could break down the best Christmas ads and why they worked. Or if I'm a LinkedIn account centered around the topic of AI and I wanted to take advantage of the trends, when ChatGPT releases a new update, I could make a breakdown showing how to use that new feature. So in both cases, I'm finding what's top of mind for my target audience and delivering valuable insights. Now, this next piece of the GAP framework is the part most people screw up. And it's the reason why people fail to build an audience and, more importantly, get clients on LinkedIn. So what I'm referring to is the A in the GAP framework. And the A stands for authority content. So when you create authority content, you position yourself as an authority in your niche. Shocking, I know. So when you have authority, people trust you more, which leads to more followers and ultimately more clients and customers. Now, it's important to keep in mind the sole reason people follow you on LinkedIn is because they're selfish, meaning if they don't benefit from your content, then it's going to be almost impossible to grow. So you need to create actionable content that is useful to your target audience. So you do this by understanding what your target audience's pain points and desired outcomes are, and creating content that helps solve those problems and moves them closer to a desired outcome, which I will show you how to do in a little bit. Because when people see you and your content as the bridge between their pain point and desired outcome, you are useful and therefore valued. So there are a few ways to create authority content. 1, case studies. 2, lessons and tips. 3, step-by-step how-to guides. An example of a case study would be when I was trying to get clients for my social media ghostwriting cohort, and I wanted to attract people who wanted to make money creating content for other people. So my target audience at the time were people working 9-to-5 jobs. They hated and they wanted to live a life of freedom and doing work that they enjoyed. So I made a case study of how I helped a former client, Taylor Simmons, go from a college professor making $42,000 a year to hitting 70K months as a social media ghostwriter. So in that piece of content, I shared actionable steps on how I was helping him each part of his journey. And this showed my expertise and gave a ton of value, which built trust and helped me generate over 100 leads for my coaching program. And then there are the lessons and tips formats. So a good example of this would be a post from one of my clients, Magdalena. She's a holistic health coach for women. So she made a post sharing 3 life lessons from 3,639 hours of yoga practice. And finally, there are the step-by-step how-tos. And these are different from lessons and tips. Lessons and tips have no specific order, while step-by-step how-to guides need to be followed from the first step to the last step to achieve the desired outcome. An example of this can be seen once again from my client Farouk. In this post, he shares a step-by-step guide on how he got 65,000 impressions, 900 followers, and 700 reactions from one post. And this got a few hundred more followers from that post alone. Now, it's not enough to create growth and authority content. To stand out from everyone else on LinkedIn and grow way faster, you need the last piece of the gap framework, because people are going to plagiarize your LinkedIn content. AI generated content will continue to flood LinkedIn, and more creators will join LinkedIn and become competitors. And the only thing that can't be copied or replaced is who you are. So the last pillar in the gap framework is personal content. Personal content is the stuff that makes you unique and connects you with your LinkedIn audience. So things like your stories, your worldviews, and your vulnerabilities. Just don't be like this CEO and post a picture of yourself crying and write about how bad you feel for laying off a bunch of employees. It's just super cringe. As a better example, in my LinkedIn content, I share stuff about me. Like, I grew up without a father because he was a crack addict. I lost my mother to a fentanyl-laced crack overdose when I was 19. I was made fun of for being a fat kid. I was working jobs I hated as an electrician, security guard, medic, server. My struggles with video game addiction and overeating. So in a world of copy-paste creators, you will instantly stand out and create a connection when you show your humanity and who you are. So you go from just another social media account to a living, breathing, and occasionally awkward person. So think of personal content like the secret sauce in your grandma's legendary recipes. You know, sure, everyone can make spaghetti, but only grandma has that special something that keeps people coming back for more. And that's you, the irreplaceable ingredient. No cannibal jokes, please. So now that you know what type of content to create for LinkedIn, how do you go about generating good content ideas so you're not just staring at a blank screen for hours wondering what to post on LinkedIn? Well, my friend, I made a simple ChatGPT system that builds off the gap framework and helps you generate endless content ideas within minutes. But before I show you this cool, fancy, high-tech system, if you're liking this video so far, can you take a second to leave a comment on what your #1 goal is with social media right now? This gives me a better idea of what content to create for you in the future. And this video literally did, I wasn't joking, this literally did take me over 25 hours to write out, and it really helps me grow up my YouTube channel when I get comments, so that is also appreciated. All right, so for the AI system, I'm going to read out the 4 prompts you need to enter into ChatGPT word for word. The only thing you need to do differently is fill in the brackets with your specific details at the parts I tell you to. All right, so enter the first prompt into ChatGPT. Please read this, and once you understand, reply with the word yes. A personal brand that grows on social media has 3 elements I call the GAP framework. The GAP framework consists of growth content, authority content, personal content. When you create these 3 types of content, it bridges the gap from a stranger to a diehard fan. It's broken down like this. Growth content is when you talk about trends, popular figures, worldwide events. This leverages people's interests and drives traffic to your profile. For example, if I was a fitness coach when ChatGPT was trending, I could create content on how to use ChatGPT to create a nutrition plan, or I could break down Arnold Schwarzenegger's workout routine. Since people in your niche have an interest in your growth content you're talking about, you're going to get more interest and reach. The A in the GAP framework is authority content. This is the content that shows your competence at what your account is centered around. So things like content that shows people how to solve their pain points or reach their goals, lessons and tips, case studies. When you create this type of content, you incentivize people to follow you because you're actively helping the market by giving actionable information. The third pillar of the GAP framework is personal content. Personal content is when you talk about things that make you unique, your personal stories, your personal worldviews, your personal opinions on life or the industry you're in. When you create personal content, you build a deep connection with your audience. And more importantly, you build an audience of true fans who adore you. Reply with yes once you read and understand this. After you've entered that first prompt, I know it's big, but you enter it. That's what she said. Enter the following prompt into ChatGPT. Here is some information about me. Authority. List out as many bullet points on your accomplishments, your social proof, and results you've gotten for yourself or your clients. And then you're going to say personal to ChatGPT, and then you're going to list out as many bullet points on your personal worldviews, your opinions, controversial takes, and interesting things you've experienced. And then you're going to tell it, once you understand, reply with yes. After that's done, you're going to enter the third prompt into ChatGPT. My target audience is, and insert details about who your target audience is. So gender, age, occupation, goals, pain points, typical day in the life, current situation, anything to give it more details on your target audience. Then say, once you understand, reply with yes. And finally, enter the fourth prompt into ChatGPT. My goal is to create content for social media that makes my target audience know, like, and trust me. Using the GAP framework, please ask me 25 questions for each category of the GAP framework that does this. You can use the information I gave you about me to help, but feel free to ask questions outside that. The questions asked should set me up so I can answer them with a soundbite that is under 60 seconds. And boom, you're done. So once you get that done, you're gonna have 75 personal questions that ChatGPT will ask you, and you're gonna have a ton of ideas for your LinkedIn content. And the best part is that you can tell ChatGPT to ask you as many more questions as you want. And you can also give it feedback and tell it to ask you more questions based on a specific topic, or ask questions that'll help you generate more ideas for content that will get a specific result, like more clients. That way you're using AI to help you write, but not making you sound like a robot by having it write for you. So now that you know what to create content about, the logical next question is, how should you write the content? And write it in a way that gets attention, engagement, and grows your social media. Because let's face it, school kind of us. It taught us, 1, use big words to try to sound smart. 2, prioritize quantity of words over quality. 3, write about topics you're not interested in. And 4, make your writing sound like a boring TED Talk. And if you write like this on LinkedIn, your posts are going to sound like all the cringe founders on there, and your posts are going to flop because they're going to be boring and hard to read. So I'm going to show you my favorite writing framework that saves you hours of time, takes out all the guesswork, and doesn't require you to be a talented writer. And I've written tens of thousands of social media posts for myself and my clients, but this writing framework is the one I keep coming back to because it keeps producing the most viral content. So first, I think of a transformation my target audience wants. For example, in this video, my target audience wants to go from no or slow follower growth on LinkedIn to having a consistent framework to follow for growing their LinkedIn following. I then make a bullet point list of all the steps someone would need to take to go from their pain point to their desired outcome. So for this video, it's the 7 steps I listed out at the start. Now, once I have all the bullet points listed, I go through each one and apply my writing framework. And I call this the what, why, how framework. So whether it's short form or long form content, you can create persuasive writing by answering 3 simple questions. Number 1, what is the main idea you're trying to get across? Number 2, why should the reader care? And number 3, how can the reader take action on what you are saying? For example, in each step of this YouTube video, I've answered what the step was, why the reader should care, and how the reader can take action. I guess watcher, sorry. By answering these 3 questions, you cut the fluff and you deliver useful content. And when your content is useful, it translates to more followers and more clients. But you're not done yet. Just because your LinkedIn post is useful, it doesn't mean people are going to read it. So think of your content like one cardboard box in a big pile of other boxes. So your box should contain the most valuable LinkedIn content. But if it looks plain and boring, people will scroll past and consume your competitor's content or some random CEO crying. So that's where packaging comes in. Your packaging is like colorful, shiny wrapping paper with a big red bow on it that makes your content stand out from everyone else's. So there are two parts of packaging. So the first part is the hook. The hook is the first thing someone sees or hears with your content. So the first sentence they read if it's written, the first words they hear if it's video, or the first image they see if it's a picture. So when it comes to written posts, you need to think about your first sentence very, very carefully. For example, let's pretend I'm a fitness coach. I'll list out 8 potential hooks and give examples for each one. So I can, number one, I can call out my target audience. For example, if you're a business owner struggling to find time and exercise, read this. Number two, I can call out a pain point of my target audience. If you struggle to sleep 8 hours a night, read this. Number three, I can call out a desired outcome of my target audience. Do this for the next 6 weeks to get a 6-pack before summer. Number four, I can use numbers. Here are 3 simple exercises you can do at home to burn belly fat in just 15 minutes a day. Number 5, I can ask an interesting question. Did you know you can eat pizza and still lose weight? Let me explain. Number 6, I can start in the middle of an interesting part of a story. For example, after 6 months of constant drinking and binge eating, I couldn't believe what I saw in the mirror. ... Gotta have the ... It makes it really, really interesting. And number 7, challenge a common belief my target audience has. So you've been lied to if you think you need to do cardio to lose weight. Here's why. And then finally, number 8, share a shocking statistic or fact. Did you know that 70% of people who start a fitness program quit within the first month? Here's how you can be in the successful 30%. So if you want an even more powerful hook, combine some of these tips together. Now, the second part of packaging is choosing what type of post to create. As of right now, there are a few types. So simple text posts, videos, images, carousels. So the algorithm changes all the time and promotes different types of posts more than others sometimes. So I'm not going to tell you which one is best, but for me, image posts and carousel posts work the best and for my clients. So I like to use the image as a hook to capture attention, as well as create an engaging hook for the first sentence of the caption. And this gives me 2 chances to hook people. For example, you can see I post screenshots of my tweets and also give more context on them in the caption, but experiment and see what works best for you. And then also as a bonus thing, I'm calling it a bonus, I'm just remembering it now. You want to make sure the spacing of the text on your posts are spaced out. So I like to space between every sentence. So once I complete a sentence, I hit the enter key, and then I start a new sentence. And this makes your writing so much easier to read. And I guarantee you're gonna get way more attention on your posts if it's a lot easier to see rather than one big wall of text. So that covers content, but we need to go over a crucial piece to growing your LinkedIn following, because you can have the best content in the world, but if nobody sees it, it's not going to gain traction. It's going to get. So the other piece you need, especially before you get 10,000 LinkedIn followers, is traffic. And when I say traffic, I'm referring to eyeballs, people seeing your content. And the more traffic you get on good content, that will equate to more followers. So there are 2 main ways you can get more traffic on LinkedIn. And real quick, before I share what they are, if you've gotten this far in the video, just click the subscribe button and turn on the bell notifications. My channel is focused on highly actionable videos like this to help you grow your personal brand and grow your business. So I'll be dropping many more videos like this, so make sure to hit subscribe. All right, so the 2 ways to get more traffic to your LinkedIn content both involve commenting, because when a LinkedIn account comments on your post, a fraction of their audience will be shown your post. So the first way to get comments on your post on LinkedIn is to comment on other people's posts on LinkedIn. So this method is free and one of the best ways to make a name for yourself on LinkedIn. So here's what I recommend. You make a list of 50 to 100 accounts who post content regularly and have anywhere between 1,000 to 500,000 followers within your niche. Then you're going to bookmark their profile and check their feed daily. And then you're going to comment on their latest post with something insightful that adds to what they are saying. And you're going to repeat this daily and stick to the end of the video because I'm going to show you some softwares that'll make this easier. So you want to comment for 3 reasons. Number 1, some of their followers are going to see your comment on their post and they're going to think, hey, this is an interesting person, and check out your profile. Number 2, humans are reciprocal. So some of the accounts will comment on your posts in return. And usually these are the accounts who have around the same number of followers as you. And then number 3, you're going to start building relationships with accounts, and these people can turn into friends later on. Now, I cannot stress this enough. When you comment, do not use AI to come up with your comments. It's so obvious and will make you look like a complete potato. And then number 2, do not just say, I agree, good job. Actually add your own perspective or your own experience to the comment. And I like the technique that people use in improv, the yes and framework. So this is when you agree with what the person said and add to what they are saying. So the comments that will get you the most profile views are the ones where you share something about you, your story, your experience. So this is a great way to get more traction. So I would aim for anywhere between 20 to 50 comments a day, or just set a timer for an hour and comment as much as possible. And you're going to get better with commenting over time. At the start, it might take a bit longer, but just stick with it. Now, the second method to getting more traffic to your LinkedIn content is through a LinkedIn engagement group. And a LinkedIn engagement group is when you find around 5 to 10 other people on LinkedIn and you form a group and you engage with each other's posts, and that just helps boost everyone's posts on the timeline. So when you are creating a LinkedIn engagement group, you want to find people who are trying to grow their following and in a semi-related niche. So these people don't have to be in the exact same niche as you, but there should be some kind of overlap. For example, an account with an audience of marketers would likely also be interested in sales, copywriting, or even productivity. So once you found some people that agreed to join, you would then comment on each other's posts to leverage each other's audience. But here's the thing, engagement groups are against LinkedIn's terms and services, and you can get banned if you're caught using these. There are also people who get their panties in a twist and say, it's cheating, oh my God. But if you're running a real business, you probably don't have time to spend 5 hours a day commenting on 50 plus posts. This is one of the easiest ways to grow your following at the start, because as each one of you grows, so does your overall reach. It's a win-win, and it's no different than paying for ads. Like, people pay for ads to get eyeballs on their products, on their offers, on their content. It's no different in my opinion. So that's just a warning to all of you. So if you want to do this, I recommend creating a group off the platform on something like Telegram, Discord, or WhatsApp, and trade posts there. Now, once you start following the previous steps, you're going to start getting followers and connection requests. And if you don't know what a connection request is, it's the equivalent to a Facebook friend request, pretty much, just on LinkedIn. So there are 2 reasons LinkedIn connections are important. Number 1, it's a form of social proof. If I go to someone's profile and I see that they are connected with 100 people I'm connected with, then my perception of them and their status is elevated. So making it more likely I connect with them and potentially become a client in the future. Now, the second reason LinkedIn connections are important is because the LinkedIn algorithm will promote your profile to people with similar connections, making it an easy way to increase your reach to your target audience. So connections are an important part of your overall LinkedIn growth strategy, but you don't just want to connect with anybody. Because the LinkedIn algorithm promotes you to people with similar connections, you want to filter the people you connect with. So the things I look for when connecting with others on LinkedIn is 1, do they have a high quality profile picture? 2, are they in a similar industry as me? 3, do they fit my target audience? 4, do they have a decent amount of mutual connections? So when it comes to growing your connections, there will be 2 ways of doing this on LinkedIn. So the first way is accepting connection requests from other people. So you can view who wants to connect with you by going to the My Network tab and clicking on invitations. The second way of getting more connections connections is by sending connection requests to other people. So when you send a connection request, I recommend leaving a message attached to stand out. So anything a bit personalized can go a really long way and increase the chances of someone accepting your connection request. So it can be something as simple as a genuine compliment on one of their recent posts. And for the love of God, write like a normal human. I get so many messages that sound like it came from a corporate robot.
Hello, Dakota. I see that you breathe air. I also breathe air, fellow human. I would be so gracious if you accepted my formal connection request on this social media platform.
You sound like a robot. So avoid the cringe by just talking to them like you would to a friend in person. So as for how many LinkedIn connection requests you should send per day, I would try to max out your connection requests that you can send out daily if you're under 10,000 followers. So LinkedIn changes how many you can send sometimes, so I won't give you a specific amount, but you can send connection requests by going to the My Network tab on LinkedIn and scrolling down a little bit. Again, I filter who to send connection requests to by the profile picture, industry, target audience, and mutual connections. Now that you have the steps to growing your LinkedIn following, let's go over a simple plug and play plan you can start taking action on right now. So I'm going to categorize the actions by one-time setup, daily actions, weekly actions, and monthly actions. All right, so the 3 things you only got to set up once to grow your LinkedIn following is your LinkedIn profile for one. So you want to make sure to pimp out your LinkedIn profile by having a professional photo, simple banner, clear headline, engaging about section, and a well-organized feature section. 2, the ChatGPT system. So use the prompts I gave you and paste the link to the chat somewhere handy so you have easy access. Number 3, an engagement list. So make a list of all the accounts you want to comment on. So store this list on a software like Notion, Google Docs, or Apple Notes, and then leave a link to each profile and a note for when they normally post. That way you know when to engage. Alternatively, you can use a paid software like Taplio. It has a built-in feature where you can manage this list easily and engage with everyone easily. This is not a sponsored post. They got good stuff. Now, moving to daily. So the 3 daily actions you should be doing to grow your LinkedIn following is number 1, connection request. Spend 2 minutes going through your connection requests at the end of the day. If you're under 10K LinkedIn followers, spend 10 minutes daily sending connection requests to other people. Bonus points if you actually get to chatting with people you vibe with and form friendships. Number 2, responding to comments on your posts. At the end of your day, when everyone is commented, take 5 to 20 minutes responding to as many comments on your post as possible. This will build a connection with your followers and increase your future engagement and reach. Number 3, commenting on other accounts' LinkedIn posts. So depending on your schedule, use your engagement list and spend 30 to 90 minutes a day commenting on other people's posts. So as you grow larger and get more engagement, you can ease back on this, but at the start, this is crucial for your LinkedIn growth. So for the 3 weekly actions you should be doing to grow your LinkedIn following, number 1 is idea generation. So use the ChatGPT system I gave you and find the top 3 to 7 ideas you can turn into posts. Aim for at least 1 growth, authority, and personal piece of content per week. As a bonus tip, download the browser extension Clio, K-L-E-O. This free tool shows the top posts of people's profiles that you visit on LinkedIn, and this can give you inspiration on how to structure viral LinkedIn posts and what topics to talk about to drive your engagement. It's super, super powerful. So what you're going to want to do is also copy the link of the top posts in your niche from the top accounts and store them somewhere so you always have a file of inspiration to draw from. So number 2 is batch creating content. So if you can, pick one day of the week and batch out 3 to 6 hours just for creating your content for the next week. And you'll be much more efficient this way because your brain will get into a flow state. And when it comes to how many times to post on LinkedIn, I recommend 3 to 7 days a week. It's more important to post quality than quantity on LinkedIn. So I only post once per day. And then 3, scheduling content. So I highly recommend scheduling your LinkedIn post. You don't have to worry about doing it on a daily basis. So you can schedule your LinkedIn post on the platform itself, or you can use a post scheduling software like Tablio. For the timing of your LinkedIn post, this will depend on your audience. So my audience is primarily in North America, so I post at 11 a.m. EST. So I do this because that's when most people in the EST time zone will start going on their break. And since many people are working professionals on LinkedIn, these are the common times when they check their phone and therefore check their LinkedIn. But experiment and find a time that works best for you. So when it comes to scheduling, this should take between 5 to 10 minutes. Now, for monthly actions you should be taking to grow your LinkedIn following, just analyze your top posts of the month and then use the Clio browser extension I mentioned and make a note of all your top posts for the past month. So you're gonna wanna study the topic, the hook, and the format of your top posts, and then use that as a signal for what to post for the next month on LinkedIn. And then you can also repurpose the post and post them again in 4 to 5 months just by changing a few words. And boom, that's how I grew my LinkedIn following to 60,000 people in 2 years. Now, if you like this video, then click on the video on the screen for another highly actionable banger.